Penmaester Retrospective Journal for the Barbarian. I'm Crawler.
And I'm Zane the Penmaester, and today we are going to be ranking the 12 base classes for 5th edition D&D. We're going to be using a system we came up with to rank with 5 different categories: power, exploration, social, party role, and personal role. Each category will have a 12-point system, and we can rank them later on from low, mid, and high tier. The point systems will totally range from 5 to 60. We don't really want to hit the extremes, but you never know what's going to happen. We are doing this for a retrospective on 5th edition classes for preparation for 1 D&D coming out later this year. And today, we're going to be talking about Barbarian.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Barbarian. We're going to start off with combat/power. Where do you rank the Barbarian on a scale of 1 to 12? Where do you end up there?
Honestly, now when it comes to power, I have the Barbarian ranked at a 10 out of 12.
That's not too bad. I mean, I have him ranked at 11, so we're at least in the same ballpark. But I mean, it's a Barbarian. Clearly, that's
Yeah,
what they're there for, right? Like,
right.
and any reason why, like, or what is your default reason to why you think they're so high?
Mainly because they are, in combat, they are usually meant to be the tank or the heavy hitter. They're always on the front line. They're go, 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 go. And they have a bunch of abilities that help them with that aspect. And they have the highest hit die for all of the classes.
True. Yeah, and the fact that you just have rage. They're by cutting bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage in half by just base rage is just strong as it is. Rage itself, no matter who you are, what you think of the Barbarian, it's gonna put you in that higher, at least mid to high tier in power. Like no matter how you want to think about it, it feels like that's what the Barbarian was designed for.
Yeah, definitely. And another big thing about it is when it comes to the Barbarian, it may be a big heavy hitter, but the biggest thing about it is, as you said, the damage resistances. And when you get to level 12, you also get the immune to charmed and frightened if you choose to go through that subclass route. And then there's
Yeah,
also the totem barbarian, which is very, how do you say, diverse when it comes to what
yeah.
you can do with it.
But the subclasses cover a lot of ground, which is what matters, especially combat wise. Um, we're talking about a retrospective, but I like Barbarian as a whole to me comes across as like the middle of D&D. Even though the fighter kind of should be, but the Barbarian, it's a magic martial character.
Yeah,
It's not particularly magic. You can flavor it kind of how you want, but it's kind of magic. It's like a fantasy martial character. That's why I like it so much. And I actually us doing this ranking, and people will kind of go as we see things as we go. But I've realized I like the Barbarian apparently a lot more than I thought I did when I started ranking out.
yeah, I was in the same boat with you there. I was not expecting it to be as high on the list as it was for me, because when I did my list, I had it ranked at number 6. Actually, I was expecting it to be more not 8 or 9.
I have it. The funny part is now it is ranked 6 for me. That's where it ended up on my scale of 1 to 12. The Barbarian ended up with our point system being 6 overall for me. It ended up being, now that I kind of look at it, the highest, we'll say, pure martial class. But that just makes a lot of sense. One, and this is we'll get more into detail as we go, but it's the most noob friendly also. Not the most. Fighter's probably more friendly, but it's still easy to play.
It's the least complex out of all the classes, with
Yeah.
especially early level when you're trying to learn the game, because it's really just go hit shit.
You're given a role that you're good at. You know what your role is, and we're gonna go into this too a little bit. Um, the barbarian, and kind of, we might as well start spreading out to more of our thing. But it's exploration. The barbarian's not super great at it, in my opinion. I have it ranked as a 6, kind of somewhere in the middle, a little bit lower down
I
middle, because yeah.
I also have it ranked at 6, actually.
See, perfect. So it comes out into the scenario to where you're not going to die because you're tanky. you're going to be able to hunt, cool, but realistically, you're probably an intelligent, wisdom dumped barbarian out in the wilderness, right? So you have some really, really high exploration capability with some of the worst exploration just ability out there.
Yeah,
But that levels you out.
definitely, definitely. Another thing about the exploration is it's not hard for the barbarian to get that exploration, but by doing so, you're going to give up a lot of your combat skills up, like your athletics or your acrobatics if you're going that route as well.
That's true.
So
But
it
but
can be good at exploration, but it's not recommended, in my opinion.
right, that so because if you start grabbing survival, you start grabbing even deception or realistically, yeah, nature, whatever it might be for your expert, just traveling any of that stuff, you won't be as good at combat, which is clearly what they're designed for.
Yeah,
But again, the fact is, your rage, if you if you are out traveling and you need to hunt, you're good at that part. So there's a key. At least you have a thing that you're good at this.
yeah. You might not be good at the navigation part, but you're good at helping survivability during exploration.
Surviv- Survivability part is the key there. Yeah. Where do you rank them in social?
In social, I actually rank them at a 4. They're more of a combat heavy class. I don't really see them as being one to get with negotiations and deception and I one of the bigger things is most barbarian players like to do intimidation, which I wholly
Would-
respect.
Yep. So that is the main. But this is where I ended up ranking them a 6. And it was mostly that I think other classes are just worse at it than they're good at it. That does play into our rankings here. But the thing about the barbarian, even if they're not the one talking, whoever the talker is can go, but I have that guy. And that is a role that is very crucial in D&D half the time. Especially if you're a new player, because newer players, they have a hard time at like getting into role play.
Yeah.
So you have to kick them in the ass a little bit. You gotta, hey, so if they're a barbarian, they know what you rage in combat and you smash shit. Nice and forward, right to the point. Then you go, hey, well, when I talk to somebody, you look angry. And they have a mission. They know what they're there for.
Yeah. So would you say overall our medium would be about 5 then? The list?
Yeah, but again, that seems reasonable. I can just, and we'll get into this as we go, but I can think of at least people who I think are just worse than them. So them being in the middle of the pack feels right for me.
Yeah.
Um, Going into the role specific thing,
I'm just saying, I might be Jesus.
if you are a solo barbarian in a fantasy world, where do you rank them?
Honestly, a 4 because they might be good in combat. They really don't have a lot of social. And another big thing is they don't really have a lot of healing. That's a very big thing.
That's a
Getting
good one.
overwhelmed is a big barbarian issue if they're by themselves.
That's true. I actually have them ranked as an 8, and I come across with the fact is they have a skill, or in particularly they have a good skill in the 3 pillars, which is crucial, and they're easy to play, which helps. And you know exactly, like, if you're a barbarian, you know exactly what you're trying to do, which I think that's part of the most important part. Like, there's no complexity to it, and there can be, there is, what is it though? Is it called the Wild Magic Barbarian?
It is the wild magic barbarian, yes.
Right? Like, so there is some complexity if you want it to be there, but come on, most of them are great. However you flavor rage, however you want to use it, you're either literally just getting angry and you smash stuff, or you can treat it as you're going Super Saiyan and you're powering up, or it's a transformation of some kind. The totem barbarian, you start to literally grow features to do things. So it ends up, I think that aesthetically it looks cool, like in your head. It looks cool on
Yeah.
paper, frankly. But it has a mission, it has a purpose. And I think part of a solo play, you just know what you're trying to do. You know what your weaknesses are too. Your weaknesses are there, but you know what they are.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now I'm all right, now for a party roll. This one I do have ranked a bit higher than the personal one because honestly, it is a support role as well as a main combat role. I gave it about an 8 for party role.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of on the same page here. I think the biggest thing for this is, okay, think about the mountain from Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Even just his presence helps ward off attacks and stuff, and he is ruthless. He's a monster. He is ruthless. He gets shit done, and he has his own brigadans. If you remember, like Armory Lorch, his army, with him leading the helm, it gave them the inspiration. Is the best word I can really think of right now to charge along with him. He may be a villain, but he is a very good depiction of what a barbarian can do in a party role.
No, but it's just valid. Just them just existing is the role. On top of the fact that they are good at combat, they're good at combat, but they're essentially a support. We'll say morally to the rest of the party. They can be a good front face, the face of the party. Even if they make bad decisions, you have someone else for the decision making, but they can yell the decision real loud. Like, if you get in trouble, they can do the thing. When you need to fight somebody, they can do the thing. If someone else is talking, you can point at them. I think the barbarian, and I thought this beforehand, even before we did our list, they're a nice glue to a party. When someone goes, oh, I really want to play a blank, and I really want to play a blank, the last person goes, oh, then I'll just play a barbarian, and they just fit in. It makes sense. They're a really good fourth person on a team.
Yeah, barbarians are great for any party. And one of my favorite things about them is they're very simple, so it makes them very enjoyable. Especially for the more combat oriented players or newer players who are just trying to learn the game.
Yeah.
Because it's just, how do I word this? It's just a great way to sit down and have fun with your friends, because if you're new, you really don't have to deal with all the aspects of roleplay too much. It's a great way to ease your way into it because you can play a simple character, someone who doesn't speak a lot, help you build up that confidence.
But if you feel like speaking a lot, you can, but it gives you the ability not to, which I think is crucial.
Yeah. And so honestly, I think I'd raise my number to a 9 from that. For party role, definitely.
I have it as a 9. Again, the glue. But so we both agree though. It really pretty much excels in most things.
Yeah.
Or at least we'll say average or excels. The only thing the barbarian really lacks is healing.
Yeah, that's its biggest weakness, is healing.
This is a kind of the future thing with a little bit of the playtest that we're getting. Even rage in 5e, it's a decent amount of rage. You can rage when you need to. There's very few times that a barbarian doesn't have rage when they need it. I think you get like 3 at level 1, right? Like, or level 2 whenever you get your rage.
It's 2.
So you get 3 of them to start off with. You're gonna use probably all 3, but that allows you to do a whole day of adventuring, strategically use them, and always feel like your class, what your mission is, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And they just look, and frankly, they look cool.
Yeah, everyone likes their grogs and their everyone likes their grogs.
Everyone likes Critical Role to some level. Travis, playing Grog, he just shows the embodiment of having fun while playing D&D.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have never played D&D and you watch someone play, watch the joy that man clearly has when he plays D&D, especially that character, where what you can see just getting into character, trying out a voice, trying new things. The barbarian will allow you to do that. I don't feel like all classes do.
Yeah, and another good example of a barbarian is King Rox from A Crown of Candy from Dimension 20. He's a king and he's a barbarian.
Yeah.
It shows that it doesn't matter what social status you are for a barbarian. Yeah. They can easily fit anywhere, and it shows that you can play an intelligent barbarian.
well, but backgrounds, because I think backgrounds are a little underused in D&D, and maybe we'll get into this topic a little bit more. But if you grab any race,
Hmm.
make them a barbarian, and grab any background, the character makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no like by default you cross in your head and go, I don't think so. You can even be a little goblin, be a barbarian, and go, yeah, well, they're just raging and spazzing out. Like you can fill in the blanks with a barbarian. It just makes sense.
Yeah, and honestly, one of my favorite things to do for barbarian when it comes to background, I love to do the entertainer subgenre gladiator. It's a
Yeah,
great
glad,
fit.
yeah.
It's a great fit,
With
and
the
you just
source weapon.
always do it with the gnome. Always do it with the gnome barbarian.
Yeah, no barbarian. Me personally, a lot of my characters are big dumb oafs. I love my orcs. I love Minotaur, probably my favorite character to just play. So a big Minotaur barbarian with a big axe. I mean, that just screams your default barbarian,
Give the Minotaur barbarian a berserker axe, and you will have no problem. And all
And
problems will
you're gonna
become
have fun.
mist. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun. Every session, you're gonna do your thing. We didn't rank per se fun. Barbarian is just fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll
That
say it's probably the top 3 funnest classes in D&D,
we'll have to.
5e.
I'll have to keep. Yeah, we'll have to come up with some like little. I'd keep that in mind, kind of thing, because again, the barbarian, and I always put them in the fighter right in the middle of D&D, and we'll get down to the fighter down the road. They're the epitome of if you want to play D&D, they're well balanced, they have a mission, they're simple, so on and so forth. But the barbarian to me is the fighter but fun.
Definitely. Less diverse, but just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming close to the end of our episode, and why don't we go over the rankings we're good at? For power and combat, we said 10 or 11. I gave it a little bit lower to 10 because we still have a long way to go. We don't want to give away 11 or 12 away just yet. Exploration, we found a good middle ground at 6. Social, same thing, a 5 this time. Now, party roll, we had a little nice discussion about. We chose to raise it a little bit to 9, and then for personal, we also chose 5, which gives us a total of 35 for the barbarian, which is
That sounds fun.
very nice. About middle of the pack, which is what we've been discussing about the barbarian, pretty much middle of the pack.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I find the barbarian to be, and we're gonna end up seeing where they end up, either low, high tier, or high mid tier. Like we're gonna find out they're somewhere in there. That would be my guess before we get further down the tiers.
I'm probably thinking it'll probably end up around 5, probably high mid tier.
That sounds reasonable. Okay. Would you like to share your socials?
Oh yeah, I am the Penmaester. You can find me at Dyson Pen, as you may know, on YouTube and Kick, actually. You can also find me on Spotify, where I post some of our actual plays under of Dyson Pen as well. And you can also find me on Twitter, and come check out our Discord, which will be in the link in the description of my video.
Yes, we'll have them in we'll have them in the descriptions below. I'm Crawler. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, a bunch of things. You're either going to find me as Cr4wlr, or you're going to find me as Crawler under Dungeon Crawler. So it's dungeon spelled out normal, Cr4wlr. I don't know why I spell it funny, but all of my links will be down below too. So thank you, and go and leave a follow and a like for both of us. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, and this is Penmeister signing out.